If you're considering to go to Esxence, one of the biggest perfumery events of the year, but can't decide, you are in luck, because so am I. In this video, I'll go through my impressions from the last year, I'll go through the math, how I'm calculating if it's worth going there, and also do a bit of a summary. This year is happening from 6th of March up until the 9th of March. Usually it's free of charge, so that's a great bonus there. In my opinion, for a beginner, it could be a great starting point into meeting people from the industry, but you do have to keep in mind the fact that it is mostly centered around the marketing, around the store people going in and buying contracts. And this year, as opposed to last year, for visitors, we have only one day from 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. where you can go there as a general public visitor, which I have been last year. There were 3 days, if I remember correctly, where I could go in, I could see things, I could talk with people. So that's a big issue right now, in my opinion, and probably the biggest problem if you are going there from far away. So there's quite a few people going there and quite a lot of influencers. In fact, they do seem to get some bonuses. They have PR agencies that kind of prepare everything for them, and they can go in as industry people and they get accepted and they get a full pass on everything and they get a lot of freebies. There's a massive amount of fragrances there, like loads. Definitely can't smell everything within a day. I would even argue not within the 4 days allocated to that. But that also is a problem, in my opinion. There are so many fragrances that, inevitably all the smells, they just leak out, they fuse together, and what we're left with is the whole venue. Not even just the whole venue, even the street right beside it, smelling of basically some of the strongest, longest lasting materials out there. Amber Max, Seedrumber, musks of sorts, and everything you try to smell in the venue. Obviously, it's kind of spoiled by the permeating air in there, so you probably won't get an accurate impression of what you're actually smelling. And for me, it really ruined things. I realized how much I actually hate this one particular smell just because I was there, and it actually induced headaches in me. So the things you will see there is probably some YouTubers, influencers, industry people, but mostly on the marketing side, you'll see lots and lots of fragrances. And if you can talk with people, can banter, can, provide something of interest, of substance, you may get some very fun interactions. So the other thing for me is the attitude. There's salespeople on every aisle and they talk with you and they're very nice. Like, oh, hello, where do you come from? Oh, wow, that's so good. Amazing. So, what do you want from us? Here, or maybe if they know what they want to market, they come to you and say, well, here's a fragrance. This is an amazing one. This is our main liner or something like that. And during the conversation, usually at a single point, they will ask you, so what do you work as? Or do you have a store? Or, something like that. And when I tell them, well, I'm just studying perfumery and I'm a software developer, or I'm here to explore fragrances, usually the reaction is like, oh, okay. They start looking around a bit and then they kind of slowly drift away to other people because you're not useful to them. And I guess that the sentiment also reflects in this year's change of having just one day for general public and the rest of them having for professionals. And now that we have gone through these things, I think we should calculate how much it could cost you to be in this event. And I'm assuming that you're an outsider, not a professional, and you don't live in Italy. We got flights, we got Airbnb, hotel, we have transport within Milan, food for sure, miscellaneous, and obviously we got the sun. Let's say one person, days, let's also say 3 because even if you're going there for 1 day, you probably would go 1 day before and 1 day after you would leave. So in total, kind of 3 days. Flights for one person, let's say one side it would be 100, 150, so roughly, let's say, equals 120 times 2, which is 240. Airbnb hotel, I did a quick research now, the cheapest I found was like 64, but generally it's more about, 70-ish, 80-ish, if you're taking the whole apartment for yourself. So for that, let's say, equals 3 days times somewhere around 70. Then we've got transport. Let's say that's basically days times roughly 10 per day. Depends, probably you can get lower than that, but maybe one day you want to get Uber or you want to get some of these scooters or something like that. Each ride with Metro, I think it's like 250 if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, 10 is reasonable. Food, it equals to days times 3 times a day generally, and we multiply that by, I would say, like 15 maybe, let's say 20. Let's be generous here. You don't want to skimp out on food when going to Italy, right? And miscellaneous, I would say just $100. Maybe you want to buy something, maybe you see something, there's lots of things. For example, when we went to there was one specific case where we could buy a fragrance where usually they wouldn't sell, but on the last day, Ulrich Lang Perfumes, the main guy there, he was there and he was going back to New York, and he basically said, hey guys, I'm getting rid of these because I don't want to, spend money going back with them. And we bought it for kind of cheap, $70. One of his fragrances, Aperture. I will do a review on it. Actually, I really like it, but at the same time I hate it. And it's actually my girlfriend liking it. The sum will be 760 euros for the whole trip. Is it worth it for a single day of Esxence? Well, let's calculate it for 2 people. Flight would be this times 2. Airbnb and hotel stays the same because it's the same room, you're sharing it. Transport, obviously we do multiply it by 2. Food, I don't think it's as simple as multiplying by 2 because, maybe you do decide to cook once or twice. So I would say times 1.7. Miscellaneous, also not the full, like 1.5 let's say. And the sum for this, 1,200. Per person, this is still kind of better than for one person, but you do need to keep that in mind, that these are the costs and you are going there for a single day. Overall, I'm still thinking, I'm still doing the math. Does it align with my financial goals? But probably won't go there. Probably not worth it for me. Well, we'll see.